Colorado, after their performance against North Dakota State last week, I got a good read on what this team is going to be this year. And I feel this year's version of Colorado is going to be a lot similar to those Mike Leach coach Texas Tech teams. You know, they're going to be all air raid, all pass heavy, not really a lot of emphasis on running the football. But Colorado can win games without having a dominant rushing attack this year, because we saw them put together an 8-minute drive and their win against North Dakota State, not really running the football, but just, having a ball control offense by how effective they were throwing the football with Shedeur Sanders. Not every play that Colorado had in the passing game was a big play for a 50-yard touchdown. There were a lot of throws where Shedeur Sanders was just taking what the defense gives him, and he was just dinking and dumping his way downfield. And Colorado can win that way. It's going to be hard for too many teams to be able to guard the kind of receivers that Colorado has on their roster this year. You got Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr., LaJohntay Western, Will Sheppard, the transfer from Vandy. All four of those guys are going to be playing in the NFL next year. And they're not going to be day 3 draft picks, all of them. LaJohntay, Jimmy Horn Jr. easily should go in day 2, anywhere between round 2, round 3 of the draft, round 4 at the latest. And we already know Travis Hunter is going to be one of the first players drafted in next year's draft class. So Colorado this year, their offensive line does look a little bit improved, but they still aren't that good. And I do have a lot of concerns about them and how they're going to hold up for the entirety of this season. But overall, this is a way more dynamic passing attack that you see out of Colorado this year compared to what you saw last year. Last year, there were only really 2 guys who were consistent enough to carry the load for Colorado offensively at receiver. And that was Travis Hunter and Xavier Weaver. Now you got 4 number ones that are more than capable of being able to step up. You don't need Travis Hunter out there on every drive for every play to be able to move the ball offensively. There are more than enough receivers that can go for over 100, 200 in a game. You saw Jimmy Horn Jr. damn near have 200 receiving yards against North Dakota State. LaJohntay Western is more than capable of having those kinds of performances. Like, it's going to be a conveyor belt when you think of the kind of production that Colorado's going to get out of receiver. One game you're going to have Will Sheppard go for 100 plus. Another game you may have LaJohntay or Jimmy Horn Jr. go for 100 plus, and on a good amount of games that you watch, you're going to see Travis Hunter going for over 100 a pop. There's so much depth and talent in Colorado's receiving room that they don't need to be a dominant run team. All they need to be able to do is run the football when they want to. And that's the problem with Colorado this year. They can't run the football when they need to or when they want to because their offensive line isn't consistent enough. And I knew that this offensive line wasn't going to be massively improved from what it was last year. I'm only expecting this offensive line to be average because that's all Shedeur Sanders needs. You saw Shedeur Sanders last week. When you give this brother just a little bit of time to throw, he's going to cook you, especially with how good these receivers are that he's throwing to. But there were a lot of plays where the offensive line just broke down, but he was able to make a guy or two miss and make a big play happen. Against Nebraska, it's going to be hard-pressed, or you're going to be hard-pressed to see Colorado have the kind of success they had last week when the protection broke down up front with how good Nebraska's defensive line is and the amount of experience that they return on that side of the football. And defensively, Colorado's defense is still non-existent. The pass rush is a little bit better. I'm not going to say massively and better, but they're a lot better at getting after the quarterback than what they were last year. But there were still a lot of moments where you could watch that North Dakota State game and Colorado's D-line get no push at all. I mean, they're not even collapsing the pocket for crying out loud. And North Dakota State still won the time of possession battle. When you have a team that goes up against you and they just dominate you in TOP, that shows that you're not that good defensively. Because good defenses get you off the field. They don't allow you to take all this time off the clock. And I don't trust Colorado's defense to win the game. Their secondary, everybody that they got at corner, not named Travis Hunter, was getting cooked back there. Shedeur Sanders, I mean, this dude is garbage. And I love all of the Sanders kids. I love Deion Sanders. But let's be honest, if it wasn't for Deion being his dad and being the head coach, he probably would be on the bench. And he's not a bad player. He just is playing out of position. He's a linebacker playing safety. If he gets drafted at the next level, they're moving him to linebacker because that's where he's better suited for. All he cares about is, looking for big hits, creating fumbles, laying the wood on somebody. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't play safety with that mentality, because safeties that play with this headhunter mentality, there's a reason why he has headache gang in his bio. All he's looking for is big hits. He's a lot similar to Jamal Adams. When he's playing closer to the line of scrimmage, they got him against tight ends or running backs. He's really good at covering those dudes. He's really good in short area, and which is why I think he makes for a perfect linebacker. He does have really good instincts. He has a knack for always being around the football, and even when he's not making a play, he's always somewhere in the proximity. So it's not like the dude doesn't have high football IQ. I just don't think he has enough IQ to play that safety position properly. He's better suited to play linebacker at the next level. But overall, Colorado is slightly improved, but I still don't see a team that's massively better from what we saw out of Colorado in 2023. Now, they did play North Dakota State. That's their first game of the season. We're going to see more of this team as we progress throughout this year. And they got a really big test coming up, going on the road to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers year 2 under Matt Rule. And if Dylan Raiola is as good as advertised, Colorado's going to have a difficult time winning that game. That defense is going to be able to slow down Colorado's offense. The question is, can Colorado's defense slow down Nebraska's offense? Because Nebraska, they damn near might be able to run the football at will. What costed Nebraska last year is that quarterback play was just non-existent. It's hard to win when you got garbage quarterbacks. But this year, with this Dylan Raiola dude, they are a legitimate team that can probably win 8, maybe 9 games max. They're going to be bowling this year. And Colorado, they don't improve that defensive line. It's going to be a long night for them up down there in Lincoln.